Hello everyone, Kristina Werner here. Welcome to another video for SimonsToStamp.com. Today I'm going to be sharing with you this fun gatefold card made using some stamps and dies from Simons to Stamp and inks, lots of colorful inks. Starting out by creating my card base itself. So I have a piece of 8.5 by 5.5 inch cardstock, and I'm scoring each side at 2 1/8. On your SCOR-BUDDY scoreboard, it's that spot with a little dot right next to the 2. It's great to remember that if you ever want to make an A2 sized gatefold card. So after I had my 2 sides folded in, I used my bone folder and went over those folds really well, just trying to get everything folded up nice because I'm going to be stamping directly on the front of the card. I want my stamp design to extend from one side to the other right over where that card opens up. So I'm going to actually tape it closed. The center area of my card front will be free from any stamping. So I'm taping it closed, but you could always tape it from the inside if your design extends over that center area. So in order to get everything positioned just right, I'm actually going to use a sticky mat, and I've kept my black foam piece in my MISTI just so I can see the grid lines on this sticky mat. And I'm lining it up so that one of those lines on the grid goes right through the center of the card. And that's just going to help me get everything kind of lined up centered. So I'm using concentric hearts pull apart cling stamp. And I'm going to take the very first interior heart and put that right over the center area. And I want to line up the bottom point of the heart with the intersection of where the 2 rounded curves of the heart meet. I want those lined up right on the middle of my card where the card opens up. So I'm going to start stamping this, and I want to make sure that I pull out that foam pad inside my MISTI. So I've pulled that out, and now I can use the cling stamp. The first color I'm using is Amethyst from Simons to Stamp, and I'm going to ink up my stamp and then start stamping. The thing that's really great about the Concentric Hearts cling stamp is that everything pulls apart. So if you want to stamp it all together, all as one color, or just all in one go, you definitely can. But you could also do what I'm doing today and stamp it in separate colors. So without removing that first stamp from the door of my MISTI, I'm taking the next outer heart and lining that up right up against the one I've already stamped. And once that's on the door of my MISTI, I can remove the first one that I've already stamped. I'm now using the color Seafoam. I'm going to ink up that stamp and then close the door of my MISTI and stamp directly down onto the front of my card. Before I stamp, I always check to make sure that that clear sticky mat is in the corner of my MISTI, so nothing's shifting around or moving. So I'm going to speed up the video footage here just so you can see the entire process. But now I'm going to take the next outer heart, put that on, and then I'm going to be stamping this heart in the color Sprout from Simon. It's a nice bright green, and I'll stamp that right there. So at this point, there's only the corners really left. And in fact, I didn't have my stamp positions down far enough that the design would go all the way off the bottom of the card. So at some point during my card creation, I will kind of trim off about 1/8 of an inch off the bottom of my card. I'm now using Sunbeam ink on those outer edges. And then there's just enough space to put a little bit of orange down in the bottom corners. So I'm going to use the color Mandarin for these last 2 little corners, but you could definitely just use one of the other colors that are already on the card as well if you'd like, if you don't want that little hint of orange in the bottom. Now here's a little tip for you for putting this stamp back on the clear sheet for storage. I like to use the door of my MISTI or just any surface and put the cling stamps face down so that they're not going to stick to anything. And that gives you a chance to really move things around and manipulate it and get them in the right position before you put them back on the clear sheet. So I'm just reassembling everything like a puzzle, putting it all back together. And once I have all of the pieces put back together, including those two bottom corners, then I'm just going to take the clear sheet that comes with the cling stamp, and I can place that right over the top, and now everything is all together. You could do the same process if you wanted to stamp everything all in one color. Just reassemble everything and then close the door of your MISTI and pick it up. So now I'm going to clean off my sticky mat, and I just use a damp stamp chamois. You could just use a baby wipe as well, but it doesn't take off much of the stick off the sticky mat, and just let it dry and you can use it again. Okay, so now I'm going to work on the front greeting for my card. I'm using the Love Ya die set from CZ Design, and I've cut the outer shadow layer out of some pitch black cardstock from Hero Arts, and then I'm cutting the words out of matte gold cardstock from Simon. And I thought these two would really play off the colorful stamping on the front of the card. So I'm going to adhere those two pieces together, and then I'm going to adhere them onto my Gatefold card in a way that it will stay on the front of the card, but you can still open it. I'm using some Honeybee Precision Glue just to glue everything in place. I'm also using some Honeybee tweezers to hold my dies while I get them all positioned perfectly. So I'm going to place this Love Ya greeting over the top of my card here just to get an idea of where I want it placed. And I realized that that point where the Y and A come together on the bottom, that was pretty much halfway. So I'm going to apply glue to one half of this die cut, assembled die cut shape, and it's only going to be adhered to the left side of my card. So I'm closing my card and then placing that directly over the top, lining up where that Y and A meet right at that edge. And now I have the front of the card, and it will still open. So to add a little surprise on the inside of the card, or after you've opened up that first fold, I'm taking this XOXO stamp from the Heart Messages stamp set, and I've stamped that in Versamark ink and then applied some gilded embossing powder from Brutus Monroe for a nice gold shade, since I have that gold Love Ya on the front. I then took the Nested Round Hearts die set, and I pulled out the heart that coordinates with this greeting, and I ran that through my die cutting machine as well. Now this smaller heart is just the right size to go behind the Love Ya greeting and stay hidden when the card is closed. It's the perfect size. So I'm first going to place it over the top, just kind of test it, make sure it will fit. Everything looks good. So now I'm going to apply some glue to one half of that heart. And this side is going to be adhered to the right side of the card, but it will be hidden when the card is closed. So I'm going to position it over the top with the glue exposed on top, making sure that it's hidden behind that first die cut. And then I'm going to fold up my card and close it, and it will put it in the exact spot where it needs to be. I'm going to press this down and hold it for just a moment until that glue has a chance to really stick to the cardstock. And then I can open it up, and I have that XOXO heart on the inside that is completely hidden by the greeting on the front. Just kind of a really fun way to add a surprise to a Gatefold card. So in order to finish up this card, I thought it needed just a little more gold accents on it. So I'm going to temporarily adhere that closed so everything stays flat, and then adhere some of these gold heart confetti pieces right directly on the front of the card. Now I was going to leave it just like this and just have a few scattered hearts kind of in the top right and bottom left of the greeting. But then I decided, why stop there? I'm going to add some hearts that are hidden behind the Love Ya as well. So it's just going to continue that sort of scattered heart look once you start to open up the card. I think it's a really fun way to bring in some more of those little accents. So I adhered the last few of those gold hearts, and then that finishes the card for today. So make sure you check out the supplies that are listed down below in the video description and at the SCOR-BUDDY Stamp blog. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I will see you all in another video very soon. Thanks for watching.
Hi there, I'm I'm Heidi, Simon's mama and founder at simonsaysstamp.com. Thank you so much for watching our video. If you like what you just saw, be sure to press the thumbs up and subscribe to see more great content.